Hi, I'm Crystal Hurd, and this is my channel, That Lewis Lady. Today we're going to talk about something that could be a controversial topic. The brand new Netflix Narnia series that will be directed by Greta Gerwig. Now, we have heard some rumors and all these things about the series, but Netflix paid $250 million to have the rights to the Chronicles of Narnia, all 7. So we don't have much yet in the way of how they're going to be adapted, how characters are going to evolve and develop. But we have heard through Narniaweb last week that the series will actually be premiering in IMAX theaters on Thanksgiving of 2026. So we have a little while to wait, but it's really nice because a month later that there will be a 4-week release on the IMAX theater, and then it will open to Netflix for streaming on Christmas of 2026. So we have some dates and we have some, some information, a little nibble, but we do have some information about this new series that'll be coming out. Now, it's 2025, so if you're keeping up, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe officially turns 20 this year, which is wild to think about. And I'm really excited about this, but I wanted to talk why I am excited about the Netflix series. Now, there's been a lot of people online talking about that they're worried about how things are going to be treated, if things are going to be changed. And sure, I get it. There's a lot of controversy and questions and caution that a lot of people are, concerned about with the series. But in truth, I'm optimistic, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I'm optimistic. For one, anytime that you adapt anything, especially books and art that is 50, 60, 70 years old, they are going to probably change and update some things because the audience will be a 2026 audience. Now, it is going to be family centered as well. I know a lot of people are worried about different things. Me personally, I'm not really worried about it because I think Greta has done a pretty good job so far with what I've seen. I haven't seen Lady Bird, but I have seen Little Women. Saw that in theaters a few years ago and loved that adaptation. Really enjoyed it. Timothée Chalamet did a great job. I saw Barbie actually last month for the first time. I liked it. I thought I wasn't in love with it, but I liked it. I got it. So yeah, overall, I feel like she's done pretty well with most of these things, but do expect some minor changes. It always happens when you adapt a book, especially when as much time has passed as it has since the book's release in the 50s. We've had many things that have changed, and anytime a director, like an artist, is looking at a piece of artwork, they are going to adapt it, change it, make what they need, so that the audience, the modern audience, can enjoy it and get it. For now, unless I hear anything that's really out in left field, I actually trust Greta. I think she'll do a great job, depending on what I've seen so far. But again, it's art. You can expect that there will be some changes to that. Obviously, some people are worried that it's going to go very different than what Lewis believed, but I really don't think that. Again, these are suited for families, okay? And I will say, just from my own experience, that having gotten things from the Lewis Company over the years, they are very protective over the reputation of C.S. Lewis and Narnia. So they're not going to let anything crazy go on the screen without the approval from the C.S. Lewis estate. The second thing that I am excited about with this series is I just love Narnia. I love Narnia, okay? When I went for the very first time 20 years ago to watch The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, it was me and my husband and then a room full of mothers and children basically in the theater. I felt like as soon as the movie started, I was transported. I was through the wardrobe, just like Lucy, into Narnia. It was completely magical. It doesn't matter what age you are when you're sitting across from the screen. And honestly, I remember watching the scene with Aslan, when Aslan is being sacrificed on the stone table, and the White Witch is there with all her cronies. And I watched that scene with so much sadness and the deeper understanding of the meaning and significance behind that scene. And I cried. I'm in a room full of little kids, and they're all like, oh no, the lion died. And I'm over here just bawling my eyes out because I understand sort of the spiritual meaning of all this as well. And Aslan was a great character. They did a good job with him. So watching him die was heartbreaking, no matter what age you are. So watching that scene and being transported, and me personally, I didn't feel like the second and third films did it as much as the first film did for me, but I still enjoyed those films. One of my favorite scenes from Dawn Treader is when Reepicheep passes through Aslan's country and goes to the other side. I love that scene. It is powerful. So while we may not agree about some of the creative things that they do, overall, if the films are enjoyable, if people are getting a kick out of it and they're loving the story, I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day. We can get online and talk about this and that, but really, are people being transported? Are we doing a good job translating the story? And if people are getting those feelings, then I think you're doing a good job. And so here's my last point. When a movie comes out, and this is just sort of how publishers do, when a movie comes out or a TV series comes out that's based on a book, obviously the book sales increase. That is just part of pushing and marketing that book, that author. We've seen it recently with Colleen Hoover, right? And other authors. When you see these shows, it gets people interested in the books. Okay. Take, for example, George R.R. Martin, right? So many people have watched the show, right? And then they've decided, you know what? I think I'm going to read the books. I think I've just decided I'm going to read the books. So a lot of people make those decisions based on the quality of the show or the film. So for me, I think it's really neat because the films are a portal, just like the wardrobe, into the expansion of those worlds. So you have children and young people who are going to say, you know what? I loved that film. There was something so magical and whimsical about that film. I want to read the books. Mom, will you go get me the books? Right? Dad, let's go to the bookstore. Get me the books. Right? And what happens? We have new fans coming into the world. And a lot of times those people grow up, they study theology, they use Lewis again and again and again when they look and talk about their faith. And then when they have children, they read Narnia. And I think the most important thing is that they can read Narnia and eventually they read this. This was Lewis's hope. Lewis hoped, called himself a translator in one of his letters, meaning I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm just here to make things simpler to understand. These large, huge theological questions, these question marks you have about your faith and why God is the way he is, about pain, right? About prayer, about the afterlife. All those things are going to lead you to the real thing, which is this. And Lewis says that many, many times. It says it in Experiment of Criticism as well. I'm here to write this art, but it's here to guide you not to me, but to something larger, the thing that inspires me, the thing that impacts me the most. And I think that's the best hope we can have. And even if it's not explicitly sermon-esque, right, or explicitly, it's giving a lesson to kids, they learn through these stories, and they will grow and love the story and tell others to love the story, and which we've seen so far in the last 70 years since Narnia has been around. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic from what I've heard so far, and I hope you are too. So how do you feel about this new Netflix series coming, huh? What do you think? Drop some comments down below, and I'll talk to you there. Have a good day.